NBA prospects continue to pop up all over the world as people continue to find solace and comfort in the game that we love. There's nothing more exciting to a basketball fan than discovering the next influx of talent that will enter the most elite basketball league in the world. Before anything else, what's up guys? Welcome to Pacific Hoops. My name is Nico, and welcome back to another video. Don't forget to like this video if you like it, since that 1 second of your time really helps the channel out. Consider subscribing as well, since I post consistent NBA content for you all, and you can always count on me to create new videos from your topic suggestions and when you comment down below. Let's go back to the video. As always, the NBA would like to expand its reach beyond just the American continent. To this end, the NBA has focused its efforts on improving the viability of the NBA G League as a way to circumvent the league's one-and-done rule. Prominent American high school standout Jalen Green has opted into the program and is set to make around at least $1 million by the time he gets to sign his endorsement deals. It would be interesting to note, however, that there's a slight difference in recruiting local American high school players compared to bringing in international prospects. American high schoolers who aspire to play in the NBA are almost always brought into the NCAA system because that would be the more traditional route, and more often than not, these kids would go to universities like Duke and Kentucky since they have a rich basketball tradition and their training facilities are top-notch. However, international prospects don't have the same luxury. They have it harder for them since schools would take a much more calculated risk with the local players than they have scouted since their early high school years. This is why international aspirants for the NBA tend to go to overseas leagues in search of preparing their skills for the beast that is the NBA. Therein lies the problem though. International prospects would rather stay in the leagues they are at because they wouldn't be risking their established livelihood to chase a dream in the NBA. Of course, it also happens that some college players from the USA would go abroad to an international league to hone their skills for the NBA, like LaMelo Ball. Now, people understand why the NBA is pushing so hard for the NBA G League to succeed. Recruitment is a different beast altogether, so instead, I would like to focus more on two prospects that are making headlines among international basketball communities for their freakish height and almost similar levels of play. Of course, I'm talking about high school standouts Sotto and Chet Holmgren. People who follow the NBA religiously have heard of these two names at least once in the past year, but for the more casual viewer, they barely have a clue as to who they are and even what they look like. Don't worry, because I'm about to give you a competitive comparison of the two players and how they stand to fare in the NBA draft class of either 2021 or 2022. Let's start this discussion with the more popular recruit of the two in the US at least, Chet Holmgren. The 7-foot, 190-pound Minnesota native wasn't as big of a star as he is now back in 8th grade. He was previously listed at 6'2" tall before having a freakish growth spurt leading up to 9th grade. He teamed up with Gonzaga commit Jalen Suggs, who was one of the top-rated point guards in the 2020 draft class in Minnehaha Academy, and to be honest with you, Holmgren really wasn't quite much to look at other than the height, averaging just 6.2 points and 3 rebounds a night. Holmgren before is nothing compared to the beast that he is nowadays. Scouts have pegged him to have the ceiling of LA Lakers star Anthony Davis, and that's what most people are salivating on. However, a gentle reminder is in order as the kid is still 18 years old and there's a lot of room for improvement from his end to reach the lofty expectations of AD. The Davis comparison, while headline grabbing and eye-popping, the much more realistic comparisons are that of sweet shooting Davis Bertans, defensive-minded Tyson Chandler, while having also maybe, in the most optimistic scenario, having the ceiling of a Kevin Durant as well. No doubt, Holmgren passes the eye test with flying colors, and it's easy to peg him as something similar to AD or Kevin Durant, but with all honesty, he feels and looks, for the lack of a better term, unique. The common assumption is that his height will slow him down, but that doesn't seem to be the case as he was able to carry his guard skills from when he was still 6'2" to his frame now, which is where the Durant and Davis comparisons come in. What people don't understand about Holmgren though is that he's more suited to play forward as opposed to playing as a stretch 5. That seems like a terrible hot take, but hear me out first. The kid was 6'2", and as a player with that height, the best and most logical route for him to take during his formative years was to play as a guard. Honestly, no one could have expected that he would hit 7 feet in the first place. The more reasonable and expected outlook for him would be to grow until 6'7" and round out his great offensive skill set by becoming an effective wing player. Holmgren had the potential to be one of the best two-way small forwards, but that outlook for him has changed in favor of being one of the top centers in the USA because of his height. If you think about it hard enough and look through recent history, Chet Holmgren is what we all thought that Thonmaker ought to be.
That one day he's going to be the MVP of the NBA.
What?
A fluid and athletic player who can utilize his height on both ends of the court. However, the biggest knock against him is his skinny frame. If he hopes to land in the NBA soon, then he has to fill out that frame with muscle, a feat that the next player has done really well in the past months. Let's now talk about Kai Sotto. Seen as Chet Holmgren's biggest competition in their draft class, Sotto has carved his niche in the local Philippine basketball scene. Standing at the more astounding 7'2", he was one of the country's top high school players. He decided to join the Ateneo de Manila Blue Eaglets in 2016, and from then on, his name recognition grew. Teachers and students can easily spot him in the crowd as he was already above average height even for an amateur Filipino basketball player. In a basketball-crazed country that longs to develop a local player with the height that he has, Sotto grabbed the spotlight immediately, barely needing to jump when dunking the ball, swatting the ball on his tiptoes, and shooting it well from deep. This kid is one of a kind prospect for any program that is lucky enough to be chosen by him. His physical attributes mixed with his basketball IQ makes him one of the Philippines' best players by a mile. 2 years after joining the Blue Eaglets, he rewarded the school with a title in 2018 while winning finals MVP honors for putting up an otherworldly stat line of 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 6.3 blocks over 3 games. He went on to do even better in the following year by winning the UAAP Juniors MVP award after having averages of 25.1 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks per game. With Sotto proving himself in the junior level, Philippine universities were trying to recruit him to their programs with promises of him being the focal point of the offense and the star of the show. But little did they know, there were rumblings of Kai Sotto choosing to follow a dream abroad. Even the European leagues and US NCAA teams sent out offers to the 7'2" big man. However, later reports would come out that he was positioning himself to chase the NBA dream. Carrying the hope of an island nation whose love for basketball far exceeds their height, Kai went to the West. In late 2019, Sotto announced that he would be joining the Skill Factory, a program based in Atlanta, Georgia, where players are trained to be prepared for the professional leagues. The news sent shockwaves to the Philippine media, and the hype train continued to grow for the big man. He was also invited to participate in the Basketball Without Borders Global Camp during this year's NBA All-Star Weekend in Chicago. The biggest news regarding Kai's decision to follow the dream would occur in the middle of May as he announced, well, more like Shams did, that he would be joining the NBA's G League's Professional Pathway program, the very first international recruit to do so. This means that the pressure is on for both Kai Sotto and the NBA G League to make the most out of this opportunity and prove that the G League is a viable pathway to the NBA. He has the skill set to put the rest of the G League on notice. Here's what Kai's got going for him. He plays like a traditional big man, but his most attractive skill is that he can zip the ball around the court. Now, I've seen the comparisons to Kristaps Porzingis, but I really don't think that's a fair comparison for Kai. The best possible NBA comparison for Sotto is Denver Nuggets star big man Nikola Jokic. Before you start getting mad at me in the comments, check this out first. Sotto has the makings of being one of the league's most elite passing big men, and that would work out great for him. Because of his height and inside presence on the offensive end of the court, it would be fair to assume that the defense would game plan for him and deny him the ball. However, should he find himself in trouble, his court vision is insanely good for a big man of his age, and that's what most teams find intriguing about him. On the defensive end, scouts should be thankful that Sotto has finally put on at least a healthy 20 pounds of muscle, which helped to round out his lanky frame from when he was still in his home country. That weight should help him on both ends, but it would be more evident in his defensive skills as it would greatly benefit his ability to defend inside the paint compared to the much better built NBA players. However, if we're gonna point out his weaknesses, scouts also point out that he needs to work on his speed and agility so that he can fully match up with the NBA's more skilled forwards and centers. As for the head-to-head matchup, all I can say it's going to be fun. The Philippines' best chance at having a homegrown NBA player against one of the 2022 draft class top forward centers. Both of them stand at least 7 feet tall, and you know what they say, you can't teach height. What I can see it coming down to is which of the two young players will be able to round out a much more holistic skill set. Between the two of them, I would give Sotto the advantage on the defensive end as his added muscle and basketball IQ puts him above Holmgren, but Chet on the other hand has the big edge on the offensive end and his outside shooting has put him ahead of his competition. Whichever way you look at it, these two titans are bound to clash soon, and when they do, you can be sure that we'll all watch it go down. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like more videos such as this. Don't forget to drop a like if you want the NBA to come back soon already. And I'm always taking suggestions on what topics I should do next. Consider subscribing as well and clicking on the notification bell icon so that you would be the first one to know whenever I upload a new video. Once again, this is Nico. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.